even before agreeing on this, he makes the offer that I will deliver every day. Naturally, it is not a problem with the customer. There is no pain area associated with this. So naturally, the customer says, I am ready to go to if you reduce the price, because price is my decision point. If you don't have an agreement on a problem, you don't have any way of assigning a pain to it. And if the pain is not assigned to it, how do you give a solution to it? And as we know that till the time you do not express that these are the industry practices, the customer can always get away by saying that, oh, this doesn't apply to me. So by saying that these are the industry practices which causes this kind of a behavior in the buyers, you are still not identifying the problem and getting his consent on the problem very quickly. And if you say, I think you have a problem, maybe his KRA is not to deal with the problem. So you need to be very, very clear that who is this person from whom you are getting an agreement. So if you go to a purchaser and say that I will deliver daily, that is not the purchaser's point of view. Purchaser will always look at bringing down the cost. The daily delivery might be some other department's KRA. More or less, if this problem is identified with the top of the company, it will be done better. So always understand where the pain is maximum, who is the decision maker, and the pain to the decision maker. So first, you need to understand what the problem is. So this electronics component manufacturer made an error that he knew that he's going to solve a problem, but he didn't get an agreement with the buyer on the problem. That means both of them should have agreed that this is the problem existing. And these are the pains with the problems. And they are caused because of certain practices which are right now being used by suppliers and buyers. After you have an agreement on the problem, it is very important for you to bring out the full impact of the problem. Always ask how big, how much. So this will just tell you that what kind of or what is the size of the pain, and bigger the size, bigger the impact of a solution. Let's come to the second part. How do you go about agreeing on the direction of the solution? So if you have accurately captured the particular issues of the problem, and these issues are due to industry practices, and you have identified and clearly stated the problem, then you can say that let us look for a criteria by which we can judge that the solution is good or not. The criteria for a good solution can only be got when you have actually very accurately and precisely captured the whole problem. When we go down to play out the criteria for a good solution, it should be so and unbiased that not only your solution, but even your competition's solution is also subjected to the same screening. Now, by doing this, again you're developing a contrast. That means it's not only forming. Where your core is always thinking about self, you're developing a contrast. So now what you do is you force the brain to evaluate that yes, if this is the criteria for a solution, that means any solution which passes this criteria will solve my problem and also be a good solution. Then only after you have got this criteria right, you ask very clearly, tangibly, what happens if we have a solution that meets all of the above criteria? That means now we have given them a yardstick by which to measure how good or how big a solution is. It is no more abstract. I'll quote an example. I go down to a company and say, listen, if I reduce this problem in your manufacturing operations, you will make money. Now, if the problem I'm trying to solve has got a very convoluted way to the bottom line, it is quite unlikely that this idea is going to be bought. But if the person already has a criteria for a good solution, and I say, listen, I think my solution is simple, very easy to implement, and the results will be an increase in bottom line, otherwise the solution is not working. So now this is a much better offer or tangible offer to the brain. It is always very important to make the offer tangible. When you say that you're going to reduce the lead time, don't say you will reduce the lead time. Say exactly how much the lead time will be. If you say that we guarantee, what does this guarantee mean? What exactly is the guarantee? This watch is guaranteed. Guaranteed for what? You say we give you a guarantee on the mechanism of the watch. We give you a guarantee the glass is scratch proof. So always be tangible. Always be explicit. If you say you will increase the profit, you say by how much? By getting away saying that this will have a direct impact on your performance, now you're confusing the brain. And if there's a solution which is actually meeting the criteria, then you should also be able to very clearly quantify the impact that's going to have, because the criteria already has a measurement. So how much your solution is going to score on that criteria is a tangible outcome. Do not sum up the total effect that it will be good for you. Now, you are going to individually, because a solution has to meet many criteria, you are now going to discuss every criteria in detail. And how does your solution impact that criteria? So now, if I go back to the example of the electronic component manufacturer, he has to be very, very clear in saying exactly his daily delivery is going to impact the inventory levels by this much. His daily delivery will reduce the amount that the buyer stores in his company so much, his daily delivery is going to make sure that in case there is an increase of demand, it will be adjusted to very quickly. And this is why, because we know that the criteria of the solution that you're offering is clear. For each component of the claim, okay, you need to very clearly identify the impact. Impacts usually are 2 to 3. There's always a financial impact, there's always a strategic impact, and the third is a personal impact. All these things should be simple, straightforward, and tangible. So once you have the agreement on the direction of the solution, you need to make sure that again those 6 stimuli of brain apply. So you have got the consent, then you develop a tangible part where you again develop a contrast. That means you say this is the criteria to judge any solution. And then you present your solution, explain how your solution scores on all the criteria, direct quantifiable impacts, and then sum it up to say that these are the major areas you will see the impact on after these criteria have come to this level. That means if the inventory levels go down, it is going to impact on your financials. And if there's a disruption to supply because of XYZ reason, we are close to you, so there's a strategic advantage of us being close to you. So we are not saying what we are going to do or how are we going to make sure that daily deliveries and etc. are implemented, but we are just saying that now you know that us being close to you will offer a better solution. After you have agreed in the direction a solution should go and you have presented your offer, you should then go systematically to the next step, and that is to get an agreement from the customer that your solution actually solves the problem. Now again the 6 stimuli will work. They have reviewed your offer or you have reviewed your offer. We return to the criteria for the good solution and say that my solution meets these criteria. Then we compare our solution with what the competition offers. We're creating a contrast. Then we do is we explain in detail the contrast. That means somehow you are trying to make them believe that this is an offer which actually cannot be easily replicated, but it also solves their core problem. And once it solves the core problem, a lot of their pain will not exist. And you're getting an agreement from them. You're interacting. If this goes, do you agree that this will cease to exist? If you carry less levels of inventory, do you think it will allow you to reduce your store size? If you carry less inventory, do you think your working capital requirement will go down? You need to get an agreement that what you are recommending is going to impact the criteria very, very clearly. After you have done this, Now you need to develop the trust part. And you need to make sure that the offer you make is good enough. And good enough means that you have some proofs or you have some mathematical issues, or then you take a challenge to say that if this doesn't happen, this is the penalty you give me. If it goes to that limit where we say that, listen, if I fail on any one of my criteria, you give me a penalty. And when you make this offer, let the penalty be not small, let it be good enough, so that again it creates a contrast. For example, you're going to supply components worth 2,000 pieces, 2,000 rupees. And if it's not delivered on time with good quality, you said, you give me a penalty of 20,000 rupees. Again, you create a contrast. This says that, please trust me. But before you're going to convince him, you should be convinced yourself. After having done this, you go to the commercial aspects of your offer. And then you close. In close, again you recap everything. And try and keep it as simple as one line when you're closing. You can then say, if you give us our price and accept our offer, you will never have to worry about stockouts. You would never have to even bother chasing and finding out where your stock is. You don't have to place an order on us. We would know how much you have consumed